and welcome to the regularly scheduled mayor and council meeting for the mayor and council of the town of Berlin. I wanted to say Monday, but it's Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Charlie's going to help.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, buddy. All right. So by the town code, the first item on our agenda immediately following an election is the swearing in of the members that were just elected. So we just had the election for the mayor and the council member for District 2 and council member for District 3. So we'll begin with the swearing in of the mayor, Zach Tyndall, myself, with clerk of court, Susan Brandke. So thank you, Susan, for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Chelsea, come on. You can come with me. So the last time we did this was in the middle of COVID. And I have a picture in the office of Susan, Chelsea, Charlie, and I with masks on. We were just looking at it before the start of the meeting. We've come a long way in 4 years. I hope we don't go back to having to wear masks, but it's nice to see everybody not socially distanced. And Susan, it's great to see you without a mask on.
I'm glad to be here without a mask. So, Zach, Mayor, you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Zach Tyndall,
Do swear
do swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and I will be faithful
and I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland,
and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of Mayor for Town of Berlin, Maryland,
execute the office of the mayor for the town of Berlin, Maryland,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and the laws of this state.
You're so sworn. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any
Yes, I do.
sign both of those? So you just sign my big book.
The official book.
You can just sign next to that.
Thank you.
And you're officially married.
Well, thank you.
One more. One, two, three. Awesome, thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you again, Susan. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And I'm gonna leave this right here.
I'll take one. Thank you. Chelsea, can you just, please, Sarah, please. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. All right, next up, we have the swearing in of the District 2 council member, Jack Horace.
Jack, got me to be here first?
You want to be like
I'll be here first. Come on, I'll be here first. Since you
Hold on one
gave.
second. Do I have council member Horace?
They're on the table.
They're on the table. I have it memorized. No, I don't.
I do.
I bet you do.
Let's do Councilmember Morris and then Councilmember Nichols, if you don't mind. I'd like to do them individually.
Oh, you're so sweet. I'm going to be his person.
Okay, oh, you're being his person.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
person.
I apologize.
You missed the
Okay.
whole conversation.
My apologies. All right, let's.
I got your back.
I'll be the person.
Well, she said, well. But you can be a part of my people.
I'm with you in spirit.
All right, Councilmember Morris, if you don't mind raising your right hand and repeating after me. I, Jack Morris,
I, Jack Horace,
do swear and affirm
do swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of council member of the town of Berlin,
execute the office of council member of the town of Berlin,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
Congratulations. And then here, we'll take a picture together.
No masks.
I know. We're part of the COVID class of 2020.
No more little kids table for us.
And then Councilmember Horace, a little something from her. Thank you. Councilmember Nichols?
You want me to go back? and
Well, do you need Jack to be your person, or do you want to call your people?
I gotta try.
Come on up. Come on up.
Come on, friends.
Charlie, Miss Shanika is your person, but Miss Shanika's got some family.
Well, you can come too if you want.
Shanika's family's here.
Sorry, we just all don't really look presentable.
It's great to see everybody. This is what it's all about. I mean, we know the work that goes into this. I've said it before with swearing in of other council members. There's a lot of family time that is encroached upon
Yes.
with the service of the town of Berlin. We really appreciate it, but it does take its toll on families. So it's nice to have that family unit here supporting
The
everybody.
cheering squad,
Yes.
they are also the campaign crew. So
Okay.
they've gone and knocked on doors and put up signs and whispered, "You got this in my ear," so yeah. This is as much theirs
You've got
as
this.
mine.
You've got this. It's official.
It's
So,
official.
well, let's make it official, right?
Okay.
So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Shanika Nichols,
I, Shanika Nichols,
do swear and affirm
do swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality and prejudice,
execute the office of council member of the town of Berlin,
execute the office of council member of the town of Berlin,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
Sir, you did it. Get a group photo.
Friends?
Here, can you help us hold this?
Can I get some on this side too?
Come on in. Let's even it out just a little bit. Can we get a couple on this side?
Come
This
over on that
is the
side.
whole crew. Two of them are missing, but
It's
that's
okay, we're good.
Okay. Okay, that's great. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do one this way. 1, 2, 3. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And do we have Jack? So we need that. We'll get a copy. Yes, buddy. What's up? What is it?
He wants to hug the vine.
Oh, you want to hug the Bible? Absolutely. Come here. Come here. I'll take a hug and a kiss. Oh, can I have a kiss? I love it. See y'all. Love you.
Oh, don't forget to. Say it.
All right.
He's fine, I'll take care of him.
All right.
You can get over there.
All right, the next order of business is the nomination and selection of the council vice president. And this is selected by the council as a position nominated and verified by the council. And we'll take nominations for anybody that is interested in the position, or anybody that would like to nominate a member of the council.
So are they nominating themselves or are we nominating them?
They can be nominated by a council member, or they can be nominated by themselves.
I would like to move to nominate Dean Burrell.
Well, I think that's appropriate.
I'd also like to throw in nomination for Jack Horace.
Any other members of the council interested in serving as the vice president? I will take a motion for the slate of candidates.
So, this isn't exactly easy, but it's certainly not personal. I would hope that my reasoning for motioning for Dean Burrell to remain council vice president is he stated his intention to fulfill his term, and his intention was to, move away from public life at that point. And I believe it's a show of respect to him for his, I guess it's 30 years now in office, that I would like to see him round out his career of public service with another 2-year term as vice president.
I'll-
Is that what you were asking?
I'd like a motion on the slate of candidates.
Slate, to approve the
To
slate.
approve the
So I'll
slate.
make a motion to approve the slate of candidates for vice president.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilmember Nur,
Second.
second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that the slate of candidates are current Vice President Dean Burrell and Councilmember Jack Horace. As Steve said a moment ago, this is not a reflection of any particular individual up here. We work well as a team. This is just filling the vice presidency role. So with that, I assume Vice President Burrell, you vote for yourself.
Absolutely.
Councilmember Horace, I assume you vote for yourself. Councilmember Nichols, how do you vote?
Hard. I'll say Horace.
Councilmember Nur, how do you vote?
Again, very hard, very difficult choice. Both would be excellent candidates, but I'm going to vote for Dean.
Thank you. Councilmember Green?
Dean Burrell.
Thank you. And with that, Vice President Burrell, you have transitioned to another 2-year term. It's been nice having you here by my side, and I look forward to another 2 years.
Thank you. I just want to say a heartfelt thank you, and I will continue to do my best.
Thank you. Now, with that being said, I do want to say, and I'll open it up to Councilmember Nichols and Councilmember Orris for any remarks you'd like to make following the swearing in. It's been an honor to serve the people of the town of Berlin. It's been an honor to work with our staff every day. Couldn't ask for a better group of folks to serve side by side with. And then this council as well. You've been my friends. We don't always agree, which is great. I think it's great anyway. I think it's the best part of what our country stands for. We have the opportunity to really talk about issues. And then I think the best possible solution does come from that debate and that compromise that we reach every time we make a decision. So it's been an honor to serve with all of you. It's been an honor to serve for the people of Berlin and the staff that we have here. So thank you very much. Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you. It's not an easy task to sit here and to do this job for 4 years, but I do enjoy what I do, and I wouldn't do this if it weren't for, as I stated when I started this journey, I wouldn't do this if it weren't for the fact that there are so many people like myself, mothers, parents, people of color, that don't feel adequately represented when it comes to this town of Berlin or nationally for that matter. So I sit here not just for me, but for those mothers, those working folks, those people who are at home right now changing diapers and feeding children or taking care of elderly who can't be present. So I appreciate the fact that you've placed me here again to be the voice for those. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Woods?
And yes, I just, it's really an honor to be an elected official. And it's an honor because of the people that we serve. And first, I mean, I have to say thank you to everyone who in District 2 for allowing me to serve and represent the town again. And just thank you. I'm looking forward to another 4 years. We have, there's always something going on, and I'm glad that we have the group that we have. And just thank you, and looking forward to moving on, continuing on.
Thank you. All right, and agenda item number 3 is the approval of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Orris,
Second.
second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that the consent agenda passes unanimously with all council members present. Up next is agenda item number 4, which is the swearing in of our new board commission members. We do have, we'll have our Parks Commission voters come forward first, and that's Corey Davis and Michelle Gillespie, if you don't mind. We'll swear you both in at the same time. Thank you both for joining us. It's a bit of a long start to our meeting, but it's great to have you. Thank you. Did we ever settle on the terms? No? We still need to draw their names out of the hat. So the Parks Commission, you can come a little bit closer this way. So the Parks Commission has staggered terms. There are 1 and 2 year, and I think a 3-year term. But what we're going to do, I think both of you are interested in serving for at least 2 years. So we're going to draw your names out of the hat. It really is going to depend on which one you get, but hopefully it'll depend on. All right. So with that, let's start with, so I'm going to read the oath of office, but when I say I ask that both of you fill your names in, and then when we get down to serving as a member of the Parks Commission, you can both repeat that. All right? So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I. It's okay. It's tricky when we do too. Go ahead.
Michelle,
Vernon Davis Jr.
Do swear and affirm
do swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will
and that I will
be faithful and bear true allegiance
be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws of this state,
and laws of this state,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
serve as a member of the Town of Berlin Parks Commission.
serve as a member of the
Berlin
Parks Commission
It's
Park
okay.
Division,
According to the Constitution and laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
Thank you. I think we've been through that quite a bit tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. So, thank you both for your time. Very much. Michelle, this is you. And I have a pen. So sign at the top and then also initial down the bottom right.
No, thank you.
Initial bottom right. That has you initialing to a term that we don't yet know what it is.
To be determined.
Thank you both so much. You were both, I'm sure you know this already, but you were both unanimously confirmed by the council, and we really appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Give them a round of applause. Perfect. Thank you both. All right, up next is the swearing in of our Berlin Horticultural Advisory Committee, and that is Andrea Weig, Victoria Bauer, Georgiana McElroy, and Jamie, I'm going to mess that up. Jamie, how do I say your last name?
Manaya.
Manaya. Thank you so much.
I like that.
Everybody come forward if you don't mind. I'll take all of you right over here.
Yes, for now, yeah.
So the Horticultural Advisory Committee, we normally do not swear in advisory committee folks, but when we were going through the discussion of that, come on forward, so everybody in frame. When we were discussing that they did not get sworn in, there was a little sorrow there. So we were like, we are going to swear in the Horticultural Advisory
It
Committee.
was ice cream.
I know.
Nothing to do with, just very.
You just wanted the ice cream. I'm sorry, I don't have an ice cream cone following, but we do really appreciate your service. And Georgiana was the one that brought up our ice cream recognition for those that serve on our boards, commissions, and committees. And I think it was very well received, so thank you.
Yep, I have a lot more to say.
Oh, good things, right? Like your favorite scoop of ice cream?
Not
All right, so now, all of you, if you don't mind repeating after me and raising your right hand, and then when I say "I," you're going to fill in your name, okay? So I do swear and affirm
Do swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
and that I will
and that I will
be faithful and bear true allegiance
be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
serve as a member of the Town of Berlin Horticultural Advisory Committee.
serve as a member of the Town of Berlin Horticultural Advisory Committee.
You all pass. According to the Constitution and laws of this state.
According to the Constitution and laws of this state.
Thank you. You all.
Thank you.
I know what I'm going to say instead of counting sheep. I'm going to be reciting this in my dreams tonight. All right, so let's do it. Okay, let's do a photo first.
And then you can sign. Okay? Great.
Thank you.
One more. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Andrea. Sign at the top, initial at the bottom. Victoria. Man. Victoria. Georgiana. And then Jamie. Thank you so much. Victoria, I just need your initials down there.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know what directions.
It's okay. You've got a lot going on tonight. It's all good. Thank you all so much.
Now,
Thank-
you're legally bound to.
You are now, because you wanted to be sworn in. To use shovels responsibly, rake responsibly. Thank you so much. Let's see. Okay. And I think after the proclamation, I am, man. I am bringing up water. All right. Agenda item number 5, proclamation for Economic and Community Development Week. Let's see. All right. This is proclamation 2024-11, a proclamation of the Mayor and Council of the Town of Berlin recognizing Maryland Economic Development Week, October 21st to October 25th, 2024. Whereas the Town of Berlin is an active member of the Maryland Economic Development Association, MEDA, a nonprofit organization established in 1961, whose mission is to enhance the knowledge and skills of its members, encourage partnerships and networking among people committed to bringing jobs and capital to Maryland, and promote economic development as an investment in Maryland. And whereas MEDA members promote statewide economic well-being by working to improve Maryland's business climate and the professionalism of those in the field of economic development, including other professionals with a direct interest in the economy of Maryland. Through its regular educational meetings, special programs, and community-driven projects, members address diverse issues And whereas Economic Development Week provides the opportunity for community-minded organizations to collaborate and share strategies, programs, and best practices on advancing Maryland's economy. Whereas the economic growth and stability of the state affect all regions and jurisdictions of Maryland, and the town of Berlin is an important component of the state's economic success. I'd say a very important component of the state's economic success. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the town of Berlin do hereby proclaim the week of October 21st through October 25th, 2024 as Maryland Economic Development Week, and we encourage all to join us in recognizing and reaffirming the importance of business development locally and statewide during this celebration. Witness my hand and seal on the 15th day of October 2024. So with that, our Economic and Community Development team is not here with us this evening to accept the proclamation, but please join me in a round of applause for everything that they do for the town of Berlin and our business community. Thank you. Up next are items for approval. Before each item is action by the council, there will be a 2-minute comment period from the public if anybody would like to address the mayor and council regarding that specific item. So with that being said, agenda item 6A, motion 2024-60, is a waiver of the signed permit fee for the Northern Athletic Complex scoreboard. This is for Pop Warner, and Kelly Rios, I think, is here with us. Thank you, Kelly. Come forward if you don't mind. I think this should be pretty straightforward, and I'm happy to see, I know we've been working for a long time to get a new scoreboard up for the Pop Warner folks, so
Yes.
Great to see you here this evening.
Good, thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you. You can have a seat or stand, whichever you would like, and the microphone, I've tilted that down, so if you don't mind just lifting it up so everybody in the back is able to hear.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward, but go ahead and just
Yes,
fill in
so
the gaps.
as you mentioned, the project is for a new scoreboard over at Northern Worcester Athletic Complex where the football field is. So it will be utilized by our Pop Warner League in addition to maybe any other tournament or any other league that might use that space. This is a grant-funded project, so waiving of this fee will allow for additional grant funds to be used for other amenities to go with this project. Some of the suggestions we had are bleachers, maybe additional benches for teams and items like that.
Thank you. So, any questions by the council for Kelly?
Yeah, just, hi. Just aesthetic question, I guess is what I'm asking. So, per the drawing here, I mean, is it anticipated being kind of, and I'm not too familiar with this end, flush with that?
No,
Or is it gonna
so
tilt?
if I'm along the sidelines and the field is going lengthways, it's gonna be catty-cornered in that back. So it's not gonna, so if it was flush, you wouldn't be able to kind of
That's
see
right.
it from the side. Yeah,
So, and also that would help, I don't think it would be, but it would also help eliminate any type of light to that house.
Correct, yeah, there won't be any light spillage over on that side at all.
If there's no other questions, I'll make a motion.
We got to open it up to the public.
I'll wait.
Any other council comment? Okay, open it up to the public for any comment. Seeing none, now we'll take an action.
I'll make a motion to approve 2024-60, waiving the sign permit fee.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilmember Wars.
Second.
A second by Councilmember Green. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect the motion 2024-60 passes unanimously. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. It actually is looking to get installed in the next 2 days. We're gonna offer
Awesome.
Tony Morrison training on Friday, so we're hoping it'll be used this weekend.
That's awesome.
Oh,
That's
yay.
what we like it.
And I should have probably said in my motion, the fee is $720, but
Thank you so
And
much.
a
You're clear.
substantial amount of money, that really covers some other things.
Yes, yes, I have.
Thank you so much. Up next is agenda item 6B, which is 2024-61, the additional 2024-2025 Town of Berlin events. It says economic development is going to run point, but I think Mary and I are going to spearhead this one. With that, I do have one item that is a change. Give me just a second.
There
if
are
you go
some
to-
other events listed here that I think that there are some folks in the audience that can speak to.
Okay, so if we go to page 33 of the packet, the first change I'll handle, that is the Christmas tree arrival. You'll see where in the description it says town Christmas tree arrival by fire truck. It is not by fire truck. It's going to actually be via public works vehicle. So I've received a couple phone calls about that, and that is not the case. So it's okay. With that being said, does the council have any questions regarding any of the particular items in motion 2024-61?
I did. I was just curious about the Flower Street Farmers Market. I happened to see it on Election Day, I guess.
That was the first day.
Yeah, how is it? Presumably, it's going fairly well if it's on here.
It is.
Is it going
It's
well?
going fantastic.
Yeah.
Really? Good.
Yeah, I check it. Mr. Burrell would know, because it's right, I would say I couldn't call him retired, but, well, I'll say that. So he gets to see those things during the day. But when I check in with Cross Farms on Sundays at the farmer's market, they have it's doing exactly what they were hoping for. The reason being is there were a lot of citizens in the town who have the vouchers for produce and whatnot, and many of them can't get across the highway to the farmer's market on Sunday. So Cross Farms was either going out and delivering to them, or a lot of patrons were saying they weren't able to use the voucher and they would be go null and void with getting the fresh produce. So having it centralized right there in that location, many of the patrons who have this voucher for for fresh produce are able to walk to the farmer's market. So that first Tuesday, which was Election Day, they had roughly about 30 people come out. And then there were several people who called that couldn't leave the house, who were homebound, and they delivered to them. And since then, there have been some folks who it's broadened, like even into Jack's District 2, right on to Germantown Road, and there further, folks from that area who can't get out or have had some people drive them over. So it's doing exactly what they were hoping for it to.
I'm down delivery.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
But timing on Sunday, folks that attend my church, usually when we get out, things at the farmer's market have been picked over or are gone. And this pop-up market gives that opportunity for those folks that attend church in my neighborhood, the opportunity to purchase fresh produce. And she sells it every day.
Yes. My parents were there, is today Tuesday? They were there today and last Tuesday.
Oh,
Today was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Every day she's there, she sells it. And I do believe my wife purchases half.
So I just have a general, I'm sorry,
No.
So I just had a general question. It's really nothing with this, but since this is the future, this area is the future site of the community center, I just want to point that out, keep it.
No.
This is the lot, the open lot, kind of across from Henry Park.
The overflow parking lot?
Yeah, the big
yes.
Okay, I thought it was up further. Never mind.
But I will tell you, I mean, it's almost like that conversation we had 4 and a little bit more years ago, right before this election, when Steve was still just Steve, the reporter guy.
Yeah.
And he had said, what are some of the things you'd like to see happen? And Shanika, just the candidate at that time, had said, I'd love to see a flower market or a farmer's market on Flower Street. So, I mean, Shanika, the council person, almost wants to stand up and high-five that chick from 4 years ago and say, hey, look where we are today. So, kudos to us and where it's going. High-five to us.
How many vendors do you have?
Right now, it's just Cross Farms because of the voucher. But what it can grow into, ...
But you'll take the vendors that don't take the vouchers.
And I believe in the future, that's how it's working. Right now, this was, the request right away was so that those people who had it, yeah.
I was working with other farmers to get them like trained and able to take vouchers so that the next time we do it, there will be more.
Phenomenal.
Not just that there would be vendors who don't take vouchers, but that there will be more vendors who take vouchers.
Right.
Currently, they're the only one. But
And we've
working with them.
And we get folks that are from the state and from our local resources that want to help with those things. It's just trying to get everybody on the same playing field. But, I mean, there's a huge demand from the
Well, now
state
we've got
level.
a few folks.
Right, there's a huge
Yeah.
demand for the state level to want to make sure access is there to fresh fruits and vegetables for everybody in our community.
Yes, for sure.
But a pathway to that is accepting these types of programs. So I think this is a great start. I think that you can't do enough to get fresh fruit and vegetables. And I mean, ultimately, when we have a community center, I hope we have a community garden there and we're able to
good
take it
stuff.
even further. But, all right, any other questions regarding, or comments regarding motion 2024-61?
Why are there two Christmas tree arrivals?
There shouldn't be.
Well, there's 25 and then there's 24.
Yeah, this was getting ahead of, yeah.
I think it's water.
And pumpkins in the park, all the things. So they just added the things officially to the calendars for 24 and 25.
Right.
Do we need public comment?
Yes. Is there any other council comment? Seeing none, we'll open it up to the public regarding motion 2024-61. Seeing none, we'll take action by the council.
Motion to approve 2024-61.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Nur, second by Vice President Burrell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that motion 2024-61 passes unanimously. Up next is agenda item 6C, motion 2024-62, extending the temporary moratorium on certain matters to be decided by the planning commission, So what this really means is the extension of the planning moratorium for projects such as zoning, rezoning, annexation, and site plan approval.
Yes.
Any questions? Mary Boland's running point on this, but
Mary, what would be the downside of just doing this till January 5?
his way is going
Great, I misunderstood.
to help you, Senator.
There is no downside to extending it, and as I've said all along, you can pull it back at any time.
I'm just wondering.
So that's, if that's a direction that you wish to go, that.
Well, does the planning commission generally meet in December? I know we cut back our meetings.
I'm sure it depends on what they might have on their agenda. It's hard to say.
Just for the public as well, just so that everybody knows, we're not sitting on our hands in this process. We've extended offers to other candidates. We've been unsuccessful with those getting across the finish line. But we do have another candidate coming in the latter part of this month for hopefully the final process. It's looking favorable. And hopefully this will be the last time we have to extend it. But to Councilmember Orris's point, going to January, it gives the new candidate enough time to get in and acclimated. And
Regardless, I would suggest not immediately pulling the moratorium as soon as we do have someone on board, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think just a little bit of extra time now, and it's the end of the year. So I'm throwing that out there to modify it to the January meeting, we can discuss this.
So to
January 15th?
January
15th.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's reasonable as well. I think it's a good idea. I mean, I think we know when we get to the holidays, there's a lot happening. And, I guess I just wanted to, I appreciate you sharing the offers that have been made and that there's a current, I think that while I know we can't share a lot, I do think it's important to give out some information because I sense that it's, again, extending the moratorium when it wasn't the intent to do it for a long term. It hasn't been long term, but I guess I'm just watching my words. But, the pause is getting longer. And it's just because of unsuccessful search efforts that have been made. So I think it's important to know that there have been candidates interviewed. There have been, as the mayor indicated, offers made. We just haven't been able to get it. That's hiring in 2024, and it's a very challenging marketplace. There's factors that go into it that maybe weren't in play 5 years ago. So I just wanted to articulate a little bit of the concern for the public. Because I think that there were, when we mentioned, I was the one who brought up the moratorium at a meeting back when it was in July, that it was going to be long. It wasn't the intent to be long. It's still not the intent for it to be long. I think that extending it to Councilman Orris's point to January, with the asterisk that we know that we can pull it back if we do get somebody in and get the ground running. But I think we also need to be realistic that we're looking at middle of October and that time goes slow in this process and there'll be relocation involved most likely. And so I would be supportive of that, and then we can hear from the public, anybody else.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council?
Yeah, I have a legal question for Mr. Gaskell, and this pertains to planning commission approving a project or unwillingly approve a project. Does the mayor and council have the authority to override an approval decision by the planning commission if necessary?
No.
Not at all.
The only time that the mayor and council have a say in something the planning commission does is if they, like for a reason, they would make a recommendation to the mayor and
What
council.
about your example?
Well, anything that's a recommendation, they have certain things that they can follow where they can action that don't come to us.
But approval is the final decision.
What comes to mind are annexations and rezoning. The planning commission makes a recommendation to the mayor and council. It's the mayor and council's decision for just a project.
So if a project developer is following the code, is allowed to do what he's doing,
And there are no
there are
exceptions.
no exceptions that the mayor and council can weigh in on.
No.
Okay, keep this one clear. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments regarding motion 2024-62 before we open it up to the public?
Just one comment to go along with what Jay was talking about. The planning commission was set with this authority to put their decisions out of the political realm. And they're set up that way so that those decisions made about these developments, these projects, do not become political. So that's why our say, after it has been approved, it is very, very
The only thing I would seek is a little more clarification, and rather than write all through this one, we'll do a new one. So the extension would be into, and I realize this has not been moved and voted on yet, but the extension would be until January 15th. The last paragraph before the approved this day of indicates that it would come back for review in November, on November 12th. Will that be updated to December, or do you want to review it again in November?
Let's review, what's our first meeting in January?
I have
Can you check that for us quickly?
What-
Because what I would recommend is up for review the first meeting in January and
Okay,
extend this to just past that date.
okay.
Because,
I'm sure that it's earlier than January 15th, but it could be tight, sometimes it is.
But they're,
the third,
Yeah, that's
that's
good.
fine. I think
You think that's?
that's fine.
But at the
Okay.
same time.
Because our goal is to lift it.
Right.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think that time frame's okay.
Okay, so to bring it back for review,
January
January
13th.
13th.
If not, lift it before that date.
Right,
Yeah, that's what I wanted to.
yes.
And the mechanism to lift it could be here.
Yes, you can make that
Not-
motion.
But so it wouldn't have to necessarily have to be an agenda item.
We'll put it on the agenda.
You would put it on the agenda if it was
Yeah.
something that we could.
We're putting it on
It
the
makes
agenda.
it cleaner that way,
Okay.
so.
It does. It's easier. Okay, let's open it up to the public. I know there is, just come forward if you don't mind, name and street name. You don't have to give your street address.
Okay, I'm Margaret Mudger, I'm with the Ocean City Berlin Rotary. One of the items on B was the Mary Marketplace, and that was missed.
It's
Approved.
okay. We approved it.
You approved it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm here for.
Everything's approved.
Okay,
Thank you so much for your help. Any comment regarding the moratorium on the planning side of things?
That's what we're gonna do, Jack.
Okay. Councilmember Orris, would you like to make the motion with the amendment?
Yes, so I'll make a motion to approve 2024-62 with the amendment of extending until January 15th, 2025, and the review pending no developments will be to the January 13th meeting, 2025.
Correct.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Orris with the amendment, a second by Councilmember Nur. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that motion 2024-62 as amended passes unanimously. Thank you.
So Dave, I'm going to have a follow-up question, comment about what we kind of just talked about.
So we will redo this, so a clean copy will be signed, just for clarification.
Up next is agenda item 7, which is the town administrator's report and departmental.
I do not have anything this evening, but I think that there
Tim
are some.
does, yeah, I think, go ahead, Tim. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Kate.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What you see on the screen right there is the graduation ceremony for Paul Miller from the Lyman Training Program. Paul was hired on July 18, 2022, and he was actually grandfathered for step 1 and 2 because he had prior experience with the town of Thurmont, Maryland. So he started school on August 22nd of 2022, and he graduated from the Lyman Training Program, Step 8, on October 4th, 2024. That was his graduation ceremony, which was held at Chop Tank facility up at Warwick College. He is the second employee with the town of Berlin to graduate from the Lyman Training Program.
Way to go, Paul.
Yep.
No, I say it every time. Dean and I were in the room when you first brought this idea up of wanting to start an apprenticeship program. And I don't know about you, but it's pretty awesome to watch it come to fruition and see our folks graduate and stay here and have very worthwhile and meaningful careers with the town of Berlin. So,
thank you. Appreciate it. He's done a great job.
Paul this is exciting, and he's definitely a conundrum having come from Thurmont, because they're one of the only others that are like us, right?
One of five.
Right, 1 of 5. So to have them come from a facility that's similar to how the town of Berlin runs our own electric utility plant that's pretty slick. I mean, I think that's cool.
Appreciate it.
And Alan's integral in this process.
Alan Parkinson, he is our chief lineman. He is the person responsible for training them in the field. So they actually have to have 8,000 at least. Well, it's really a total of 1,040 hours of on-the-job training. And Alan is the one that administers that in the field and keeps track of it, how they're doing. They actually have to be graded on every task that they perform, which that information has to be turned over to the state of Maryland. Because at the end of this program, they actually receive a journeyman certification from the state of Maryland.
Awesome. And one of Alan's favorite pastimes is decorating our town Christmas tree, which is coming right. Well, he selects, doesn't he? He selects the tree.
He is the one that
is meticulous about lighting the tree.
Yes, if you were to go to Alan's house, you would see why he really gets into Christmas.
Yes,
Well, he's
and he does a fabulous
an
job.
arborist, so he's definitely a tree guy.
Yes.
Alan the arborist. I mean, he's like
Yep.
king of the trees,
He is
hanging
the
up
tree
there.
guy.
Yeah.
He is the town's tree guy.
And I mean, Paul has been a great addition to the team. We've got a great group there. I mean, some of them are somewhat newer, but they work really, really well together, and Paul fits in perfectly.
I've got another one that's going to be graduating from the program in January. That's David Davis. That's the meter technician program. And then Jacob Berkey, he's going into step 2, which is next week. And then Charles McWilliams, he is going into step 4 program.
And Charles is here in the bottom photos on the left-hand side.
Oh, yeah. Like, you can get a hole.
Right next to the little guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. We greatly appreciate it.
Tim also, his department hosted an intern this summer with developmental disabilities that I don't feel like he got enough credit for. It's something that he raised at a staff meeting in the last year, and we followed through, and we were able to work together to get that set up. And I was just really proud of his entire team for accepting him and making that possibility.
And he was an integral member in the
He was,
team.
yes.
So, yeah, Tim's been great, and then every once in a while you bring up that idea of retirement, and I'm like, we got to get that out of your head because we want to keep you for a while.
Not yet, Tim. I'm planning on changing careers in the next 10 or 15. I want to go work for you.
I don't know if I'll make it 10 minutes.
Don't talk that way. But yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, I've got one other announcement.
Exactly right. Thank you.
There's been some talks about a safety presentation by Chesapeake Utilities Gas Company. They have agreed to do a safety presentation for the mayor and council, the public, fire department included, police department, and all the departments within the town of Berlin. It's going to be held at our shop, which is 113 Schoolfield Street on February 10th, and it'll be from 5 o'clock p.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. They actually have a large demonstration trailer that they're going to bring in, which they've asked that it be set up indoors, so it'll be inside our parking garage at that location, and everybody's welcome to come to it.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And the council brought that up, and we all worked through various channels, but Tim's was the one that came to fruition. And looks like it's going to be a fun and exciting learning opportunity for all of us. So,
February 5th?
10th. It's a regularly scheduled mayor and council meeting. We'll have a work session there,
Right.
and then we'll come here for the regular meeting.
That's so exciting.
All right. Thank you, Tim. Really appreciate it.
I just have a general question, Tim. If you can, what were the guys working on right here at the corner today?
On the corner?
Yeah.
That's where they're painting that, what is it?
Opera House.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're.
so it was extended out.
She's using
Yeah.
the truck.
Oh, I see.
We have to have one of our guys operate the truck while she's up there painting.
I did notice she extended it out, so that explains it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're supposed to be completed by tomorrow afternoon. So
It does, it looks awesome.
Yeah, seen your guys there, seen you there in the morning. That's really phenomenal, I think. It's
Yes.
really exciting.
It's really nice.
Those signs are very unique, and that one's definitely, that's a game changer.
I was talking to her today, and she says, she was telling me that people, when they come down Broad Street driving, actually stop and take pictures of
Yeah.
the windshield.
Yes.
You see it as you're, it's right there.
Right.
Yeah, I did that one time too.
Any other questions for Tim? All right, any other department head requests or questions from the council?
Well, actually, this is for, I guess, Jamie. I was going to wait till the council comments parts, but
Jamie's not here, you right though?
yeah, but I'm here.
Okay, yeah, it's fine, you're good.
So, part of our, so part of the strategic plan that we have here, one of our strategies and action steps is engaging the community through education initiatives focused on stormwater and runoff management. So I was wondering, I know we've been toying around with it and anecdotally talking about it, about some flyers and educational materials about how to keep debris out of ditches, grass clippings, and whatnot. I was on West Street today, and a resident let me know, and I don't know what it is, but something has gone down the ditch around the intersection there of Abbey and West. To me, it looks like paint, but I don't know if that's what it is. But it's in the gutter, it's in the thing, and it goes right down to the drain.
And
So I
the
was-
curb and gutter
Yeah.
on the road.
So I was wondering, A, if they could check that out tomorrow and see what that is. But tying that into some sort of outreach discussion about that, because it could be just people aren't realizing it. But it is important, keep grass clippings out of gutters and all that stuff, especially whatever this might be. If it is paint, I don't know. We want to keep that out. So throw that out there.
Well, we've noticed even some challenges where our folks will go and get something ready for an event. We'll go through a leaf blow, get everything looking nice, and then folks will cut their grass. Right, keep it right on the sidewalk, even after our crews have gone out and just made everything look really, really nice, and they gotta come back. So it really has impacts on, one, the stormwater system, two, staff time and availability. So yeah, I mean,
I think it might
You're-
just be.
you are assigned to stormwater.
I'm the stormwater czar, so I'm on this.
You are assigned to stormwater.
And I will say that education about that type of thing is just a constant and ongoing.
Oh, absolutely, I
Yeah.
understand, but I mean, let's,
So, yeah.
if we can
And
just.
and I think most people are not doing it out of
Oh, I don't-
a willful
yeah.
desire to do something wrong. They just don't understand.
Right, and I just think that it's part of the plan, let's just,
But no,
putting it in.
we do appreciate that, and we'll have Jamie check Abby and Wes
Please, I would
for
appreciate
the
it.
drain. But yeah, we're open to stuff like that, if you have some ideas, or if you find something online that looks really good. We've taken stuff before, when we had just implemented the new water meters. Remember we pulled the leak door hanger that we liked. We just found something on the internet that we liked and made it our
I'm a
own.
big fan of candles.
Mary believes that's the best part about local government.
Municipal government, we are the chief plagiarizers on the.
So find something like.
Somebody's already paid a marketing department to do it.
Find something you like, Jack, and pass it along, and we'll see if we
That's
can
right.
implement
I
it.
can do. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's right, sharing. Sharing.
But it's an invitation, it's the highest form of flattery.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's all I was gonna say.
All right, any other council questions for department? For the department? Okay, we'll move on to comments from the public. Anyone from the public that would like to address the mayor and council? Okay, seeing none, we'll take comments from the council. Vice President Morrell, you want to start or finish?
I'll start.
And finish.
I'll start and finish.
And go in between. I just want to say to Jack, Shanika, and of course the mayor, congratulations on your elections. I look forward again to working with each of you. Zach made comments and Steve made comments earlier during this meeting. And I have a comment that I would like to make the way I see this council. Zach said that we don't always agree. And I know we're not expected to always agree. Because we each bring to this podium our life experiences, our expectations, our wants, our desires, and our needs. And they're all different. Thus, we have different opinions, and I think that is a very good thing for this body. However, where we differ from some groups, we do not attach a right or wrong to anybody's position. My position is my position. Zach doesn't judge my position as being right or wrong, and I don't judge his position as being right or wrong. And I think none of us do that. And I think that is a very, very good thing. It puts us ahead of a lot of groups. And it is a pleasure for me to come into this place and have these discussions on behalf of our community, trying to make the best decision we can possibly. And sometimes sitting up here, you actually get a chance to grow and see things differently. And I have learned in this past year, since Steve has been on this council, that you don't have to be as absolute and cruel and as hard to get your point across. Steve has looked at me and said, be gentle. And I appreciate him so much for doing that. So I look forward to continuing my work with this body.
Thank you, Vice President. Well, that's all for now.
That's all.
That's all for now. All right, Councilmember Merrick. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dean, everything you said is simply wrong. I too want to congratulate Shanika, Jack, and Mayor Zach. We truly are a great team. And each and every one of us bring a set of unique and fresh ideas to Berlin, which only helps this town get better and better with each and every year. So I truly look forward to working with each and every one of you for the next term.
Thank you. Councilmember Nichols.
So, working with Steve Green too has taught me that all these thoughts I have in my head, there's tons of them. Some of them probably shouldn't be stated out loud because he does give me the look like, wow, did she really? But the ones that I need to say, I should probably take note because I do forget real quick because I'm always saying too many things. So today, I said I will start this new term off on the right note. I made my notes. That's what I needed to comment on. First off, there are a couple of things. I want to say thank you. I can't say it enough, and it's not a broken record here. But to come into this election season, being that chick with the only opposition, and I believe me, I appreciate having that, having the opposition, because if nothing else, it keeps you grounded. It makes you realize that you are not invincible. Not saying these guys thought that, but they didn't think that at all. But it also, I'm one who always, I sit back and I analyze everything that I do. I am the queen of overthinking. I even have a theme song. But looking back over these last 4 years, there were things that I did at the beginning of this term that I was like, this is what I'd like to see done, this is what I'd like to see done, this is what I'd like to see done. And when it was time to think about running again, I pulled out that checklist and was like, where do you sit as far as those things? And several of those things, because I was a last minute packet kind of girl. That's just how I rolled, because I needed to make sure that I was doing this for the right reasons. Not for me, but for the folks. So when I went back and I checked those things, as I said, with those people who were standing here, not all of them were present, but my 14-year-old was like, why are you self-doubting? Like, Mom, seriously, you said this, you did it. You said this, you're working on it. And I was like, I know, but, so really and truly, looking at this, I say thank you for those people who saw and still have faith that I am honestly here doing what I said I was going to do for the town of Berlin, not just District 3, nor not just 4, or that other side of the highway, as some people refer to, which I hate, but for all of Berlin, because at the end of the day, we are all one town. Let's remember that first and foremost. So thank you for that. Thank you tenfold. And then the other thing I wanted to say was public access channel. Mary, people call me about this thing and talk about it all the time. Is it still there? Does it exist? What channel is it? Do they see it?
You just gotta go to Kate's office, you can watch it in real time. Kate gets the luxury of watching the public access channel all the time.
They've been saying for a minute, like, I don't see it, where is it? I'm like, I think it's still there.
It's on Comcast, though. More and more people are not getting their TV through that means.
Great, so I'm glad you stated that. Comcast is the medium. If you don't have Comcast, you may not see public access. Now I know the verbiage. Other thing, fellas, and I love this, the guys and I, the gang's still all here because we still have so much work to do. Not saying that Berlin is not on the road of greatness, because we are, but there's still so many there's so much unfinished business that we've started. And the biggest thing I wanted, these last 4 years have been great. Some of the things that we put into place have been historical for the town of Berlin. So I can't wait to see where we go over the next 4. I'm excited about it. And I hope that you are equally as excited, fellas. That being said, February 10th, can we please make that business casual? Because I love going to Tim's shop, but I do not want to go there in a dress and other things. Please?
We can. We'll make
Thank
that.
you. I appreciate you for that. Thank you. I can leave the heels and the dress at home that day. Last thing I wanted to say, because I wasn't officially reelected yet, it's time for me now to sign up for a strategic planning thing, so.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, let's do that.
Anybody that still has not signed up, reach out to Sarah.
And
You're on my list.
Because we do have that checkup coming. And we want to, when we have to sit here and look at Beacon, I want us to be able to say this is what we've gotten done. Or this is what we're working on, this is who is assigned to this. And we've made it pretty far with assigning folks, but just keeping that ball rolling.
And I will also say that we've tried to align agenda items to strategic plan items, but until we're really familiar with the strategic plan, it means somebody has to really read through it to find where those alignments are, and so the timing on that is often difficult.
And we were working on that, and then I think we're just in a little bit of a transition period in admin, but we're going to get back to that.
Yes, and just be understanding that it's a big document to try to link agenda items to.
And there's a lot, administration is really Mary and Kate right now.
Yeah,
pretty much. Kelsey's in HR.
Yeah,
but you literally have 2 people in admin. So But that is something that we're looking to work toward. With that, Jack brought up the strategic plan, and I'm sitting here, like I know many of us have it right in the back of our council packets, always handy. So I was like flipping to the page trying to find it. Councilmember Nichols. Yes, Councilmember Nichols, here is in front. Anything else, Councilmember?
No.
Councilmember Ort?
Well, it's really hard to follow up after Councilmember Nichols.
Sorry.
But, congratulations, of course, Shanika and Mayor. It's wonderful. And, again, thank you, District 2 and the town, for allowing me to be up here and work with this great group. And, earlier, Steve mentioned, the whole VP thing is not personal, and it's not. We just have different views sometimes. So that's what makes this body unique, as Vice President Burrow said. So thank you. Two business things. Since we did push, since the moratorium has been extended, and we may be on the road as to the route of director. I believe it was Councilmember Green who suggested, and I think we had one, kind of a half one. Can we schedule a combined planning commission and mayor meeting again sometime, either however it lines up, but before we review the moratorium the second time? So if we're going to review it again in January, but I think pending how that, I'd like to have another combined meeting with the planning commission.
That
It would
probably,
probably be after, it would be after that January date.
Okay.
It will likely with the holidays and everything, and we're not going to come right back to the first meeting. Sorry, we're not going to come back to the first meeting of the year with that joint meeting. But we can establish another follow-up meeting with the planning commission and the council.
I think that was a great idea, and I think we kind of did one, but I think now, with everything, all the topics, I think it would be good to kind of touch base again, especially since we're where we are with the director. So thank you on that. So I just had a statement, Dave, I guess, and not really related necessarily to anything going on now, but I'm a little unclear on something. So it seems to me applicants have, particularly developers, they have an off-ramp when it comes to zoning changes. And it is the change in the neighborhood, in the character of the neighborhood.
Or mistake.
Or mistake.
Right.
Okay, so they have two. My question is, and this is where I'm unclear, and maybe we can talk offline if we have to, but where does it happen? Because if you have a section of a municipality where these changes in character have been applied so that things can happen, then the neighborhood is going to change in character. So where is the trigger that stops something from changing the character to begin with? Does that make sense?
Well,
so if we plop down a shopping mall, or not we, if somebody applies to plop down a shopping mall somewhere that just doesn't make sense,
right.
and they say, oh, well, the character of the neighborhood has changed, so we can put this here.
But they have to prove that.
And furthermore, they have to convince this body that the
It's
neighborhood.
planning commission, isn't it?
No, so if somebody is going to change.
It starts at the planning commission, and they have the burden of proving to the planning commission. And the planning commission has to make certain statutory findings in order to say that they've met their burden of proof. Then that comes to the mayor and council as a recommendation. However, you're not bound by that recommendation. The party who's trying to rezone the property will come in here and will have to put on evidence here to convince majority of you that they've met that burden of proof that the nature or the character of the neighborhood has changed.
Or that there was an
mistake.
error.
Or that there was a mistake.
But then this group has that final say.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, for a project that's already, so like, let's take something that's, say I have a lot next to me, and it's zoned R1 or R2. As long as it checks the boxes for R1, R2, there's nothing that comes to this level, and nothing that really goes to the planning commission level.
So basically, Jack, the project that we're discussing, that I know you're discussing, the error came into play with the changing of the character of the neighborhood long before we were sitting in these seats. That's the saddest part of what we're dealing with right now. That happened before us, because it wasn't always zoned as commercial. It wasn't. It was residential. And that's the disturbing part. And that was long before, probably, well, Mr. Barone, a little bit more advanced.
No,
Well, then
if
before
we're
you-
talking about the same spot, it has been commercial for a while.
Yeah.
Because of the factory that used to be there.
Before, well, and then,
And that's for all of us.
yeah, the cannery though was further back, because right where we're talking, there used to be a home there, remember?
Well,
Yeah.
I would say that, and this is a very generalized statement, but this statement, the concept of zoning is a fairly modern idea. When you look at the long history
Yeah.
of towns
Yeah.
and areas, things were kind of allowed to be, it's a neighborhood, let's build a
Mixed.
store. It made
Yeah.
sense at the time, but it no longer makes sense. And at some point, somebody came and said, yeah, I know there's a house there, but the rest of this is all commercial, so it makes sense for it to be zoned accordingly. And at that time, that argument made sense to whoever made that decision, and so that's what they did. Excuse me. So now, you would have to prove that while it was the decision that was made appropriately at that time, it no longer is appropriate. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
it does.
It's just very disheartening. That's the bottom line.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, thanks. That was it.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Green?
See, I want to come back to that too, but thanks for all the specific comments of me. I appreciate that, and but I'm not going to be the only one to not congratulate everybody. So congratulations, Mayor Zach. It's I think a testament to your service that you were unopposed in your second term. I think you should be very proud of that. And, Jack, I think it's a testament also, you know, when you're unopposed to both of you, sometimes it can be perceived as an apathy versus the opposite side of it, which is contentment, I think, you know. And I think it's more contentment because this community doesn't have apathy, I don't believe. So then, Shanika, congratulations. You had, I've never had anybody vote for me. So you have, so congratulations. By virtue of being unopposed. So I think it's great to be, flip side of being unopposed is you got to go through that process. But so congratulations. All right, now back to
Back to the range.
Yeah. So Mr. Baldwin's here. Actually, could you come up, please? I did ask for it. So it's a lot of what we were just discussing. You know, our We Heart Facebook, We Heart Berlin Facebook page is like our water cooler, and there were over 100 and some comments as a follow up to a news article about the microtel. And it's a lot of what, Jack, I think you were getting at, and Dave, with his comments about, you know, the mayor and council in many ways were kind of, well, it was point blank said that the mayor and council has not given the planning commission the tools it needs to, you know, maybe handle a project like this, or maybe allow the planning commission the tools to not approve a project like this. And I'm going to try to be pretty point blank here, because I think what we know we're all talking about is the microtel project. But from your perspective, I'm sure you were at the planning commission meeting. I mean, I was a little bit disheartened by some of that, throwing it back to the mayor and council that this project is where it is. So I just wanted, from your perspective, I know you have a long history with planning and engineering too, right? But could you maybe fill in, just trying to hopefully educate maybe us and maybe the public too on, you know, where we are in this process, and just kind of throwing it out there for you.
I just thank you for picking me out. I would like to begin with, I am primarily an engineer and trying to help with the zoning. You certainly have other people around you here that could also address this question quite adequately. But the project that you're referring to arrived only a few weeks before I was engaged with the town. So I didn't see the initial planning commission meetings with that project, but began to be engaged with them at about the middle of where they are presently. In one meeting, and here it was pointed out quite strongly and quite appropriately, that a property owner has the right to develop their property within the guidelines of what's in the code, what's in state law, what's in county law. And Microtel has been incrementally being kind of brought along towards aligning their project to meet those requirements so that they can develop. You began with the statement of the Planning Commission not having the tools. And certainly coming forward in the next few weeks of meetings, you'll be seeing and hearing about design standards. And in my opinion, watching the Planning Commission, they were working diligently, individually, each with their own perspective, each with their own way of describing what they wanted to see and did not want to see. The design standards would at least give them some uniform vocabulary and also allow members of the public, the council, or anyone else to look at that document and go, in the broad sense, in general terms, does this describe the type of Berlin we want to see in the future? Is this the vocabulary we want to use as we see projects? But going back to what I did say, the property owner does have the right to develop their property. And in the most recent round with Microtel, everybody doesn't get everything that they want. Planning Commission may not have gotten everything that they wanted. Developer certainly had to lean forward quite a ways to keep moving forward. And at the last meeting that they met, really what they were talking about were the elevations. What will the building look like? And, they've made a lot of progress towards meeting in the middle. I think if there were more attorneys in the room, they would have said, job well done, because nobody left with everything they wanted. Is there more that I could?
No, I think you really addressed that. I just was really looking to bring some clarity to the situation. I think, I think that, if there was something that the mayor and council should have done or should be doing, I just want to make sure that we're clear, that the mayor and council is, because I believe we need to stay in our lanes, on this, and we have our attorney to guide us on, and because we just talked about comprehensive rezoning and things like that, and I've done some research on that, but you certainly can't spot rezoning, I guess, just until there's a mistake, and who would be the party that brought forward the mistake? Probably the Umbridge residents that are going to be impacted, and I know from that firsthand, so I guess that's my question. I just want to try to bring clarity, I guess, to the situation, because I believe it's a common talking point in our community.
Well, there have been a lot of congratulations that have gone around tonight, and one should broadly go to this council alone. A number of weeks ago, you did make a change of code that the administrator had put forward to make it more clear what the development process is like. And you all agreed to making that be by a procedure that is managed by the planning department. That procedure has been drafted and is currently being staffed by departments to make sure it's well sanded. But that move by the council and following that procedure should not only be clear for developers, but make it easier for everyone to stay up to speed with where we are in the process, and what questions and challenges are appropriate at this stage in moving forward.
So I have a follow-up question to Steve's question. And so even though many of us in town and on this council may not want to see this Microtel project, if we were to pass design standards today that are unique to Berlin, or even adopt county standards, they really wouldn't apply to this particular project because they've already submitted their application. Is that correct?
I think when it comes to those design standards, and Mr. Gaskell would be a better person to field this particular aspect. But whether or not it's appropriate to grandfather projects that are in the queue, or even projects that have already been approved. In my experience, as I see changes come through the process of municipalities, it gets done both ways. I believe that would be a better question addressed by Mr. Gaskell.
I'll also clarify, though, that with design standards, a lot of the language is may and should, not shall and will. It allows flexibility for the developer and the planning commission or historic district commission or whoever to look at a project and go, you know what, in this instance, some flexibility is appropriate. So the design standards are that. They are standards and guidelines. They are not codified. They are not regulations, for the most part. There are a few shalls and wills in there, but for the most part, it's should and may.
So when we did Ocean City standards, we allowed for that flexibility you talked about, but it was also codified. So they had to adhere to certain design styles.
In some cases, that language is in there.
The downtown Ocean City area. To assume.
The way that it's written currently, accepting this as an overlay from the county is a tool that they created, and we're part of the county. So as an overlay, hopefully it works. In there's a statement for the planning commission. In the current version, that means Worcester County, if adopted, that should be pointed to me, Town of Berlin's planning commission. They have the right to waive anything that's in there. The document initially will come out, I believe, and we'll see as it makes its way through the progress, with a lot of shalls in it. But some of that is that process of moving it through so many people, not only eventually the council, but currently the commission. So it allows the opportunity for that document to be tailored. And if you begin to lock down aspects that you mutually agree are the way the town should look, you'll have that flexibility as you go forward.
So that's,
maybe it'd be better to go to your question.
okay. Well, I mean, yeah, go ahead. Okay. So this is about the design standards, and it was kind of answered. It was a little bit more clear to me now, but I still want to ask. I thought that one of the reasons for doing design standards was so that there was less subjectivity on the part of the commissioners, of the planning commission. So when I hear something may, to me that allows. To me, it could allow too much room. I kind of akin it, it's not a great, it's like apples to oranges, but it kind of works. The law is you must stop. No, you must stop for a school bus with the lights on, not you may. Mm-hmm. So, and I guess to put it a little, Jack's Hardware store, if we say that your outdoor shutters must be 3 inches from the top of the window, that's different than your shutters may be that, and someone could put something 6 inches above. So I understand the point of a little bit of flexibility. My concern is the purpose was to make it easier to follow, as I understand it, and for designers to understand, developers. This is what we do. This is what we want in Berlin. This is what the planning commission has said. As soon as there's going to be public input, this is what we decided as a mayor and council. So I'm just concerned, and this is just Jack talking, that there might be too much wiggle room with the lack of shalls and musts.
And it will come before you at some point, and it will be very clear what changes the planning commission discussed and addressed to go into the document. But it is very important to remember, these are standards and guidelines, not regulations, not laws. They are not codified.
So if I may, right now we have nothing.
No, yeah.
And it's, when somebody wants to come in and do a project in Berlin, it's kind of like throwing something against the wall. You really don't know what to expect. So this is a starting point. It's a conversation starter. It helps tee up the developer for a potential conversation with the planning commission. Is it perfect? No. But I think it's a great starting point. Rick brought this to our attention as seeing where we were and our discussion about wanting to have this tool in the toolbox. And our code, correct me if I'm wrong, specifically says we don't want to abide by the county's design standards. And
We have the,
and now what we're trying to do with the planning commission is have that conversation of, let's use this as a starting point. If you encounter a page that does not fit for Berlin, provide direction to the staff. And then we will rework that and then integrate that into the document for future iterations. It's not designed to be concrete and hold you to it, but we are going to eventually end up with something that's better than where we are. What did I mess up?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
The town code definitely exempts itself from all of Worcester County's regulations with the exception of the plumbing code and building code.
electric.
Electric, thank you. But the design standards, as an overlay, we're pulling it over ourselves as a blanket because we don't have anything else. And if you look at 1/3 of the document, it's very Berlin-centric, so it does quite a bit. Looking at a number of design standards from other communities, the heart of it, the basics of it, are pretty standard from other jurisdictions as well. Mayor brought up one from Austin, Texas, and it reads quite similar, in a very similar fashion. But it's a document that I think we should keep track of because we have a historic district, and the city of Austin has gone to great lengths for description of protection of assets that are in their historic district. So there would be elements there desirable to bring in. While I've got your attention, I'm going to take the opportunity and, I might have my opinion, but what's ultimately going to happen with the design standards is going to be a consensus, as was said several times tonight. In my opinion, an ideal arrangement would be that you have the design standards, a developer coming into town or a project coming in, even a developer that's been here, they should begin with your planning office. Hey, I want to bring you Dollywood, or whatever it is they want to bring you, I have no idea. And then that person should be able to say, well, that's really great. And yes, parcel that you want is zoned commercial, but this is collectively what the town of Berlin, and you all represent 5,000 people here. The planning director's talking to one developer, you all represent 5,000. And this is an expression of what they would like their town to look like in the future. So you need to align yourselves with these elements. Opinion, I'm quite comfortable with the shalls that are in that document. I counted them once, I forget the number, but it's significant. But the consensus is, we want to get comfortable with this before we're locked into it. That's how I read it.
No, I do. Oh, go ahead.
May I please?
Go ahead.
I've been holding my tongue for a long time on this one. So we've been talking design standards, and this is what everybody in this room and most of everybody had brought up when it came to this particular project. And that was the primary part of the discussion. Mr. Baldwin, you almost had me screaming amen a minute ago, but I had to sit back down because you didn't go exactly where I thought you were about to go. When you brought up, when someone comes to town and says, okay, I've got this great idea that I want to present to you. And this is what I think, and this is where I think it should go. When you said that, I was just about to say, yes, score, that's where we need to go. Design standards are one thing. And when we're talking about the way we want the town to look, I think we need to look at more than just what the zoning is and just a design standard. I think this needs to, and this is the part, again, where we're representing 5,000 folks here, people. When you're putting this in the hands of one or two people, then that is, and I'm not taking away from planning, don't take it in any other way than that. But when you say that and you're like, yes, it's zone blankety blank, and I'm not saying you, sir, when I say this, so don't take it like that. You're saying it's zone blank, blank, blank. Yeah, and you fit right in there because you are ... I think where we missed the mark with this project specifically was when it came and dude said, I want to build this and I think this is where it should go. Somebody should have said, ooh, I don't know, sir. And I'm not saying that they didn't, but I don't see where they did say that. I don't know, sir. I don't think this is the right location. We went to design standards and whatnot. I think we completely missed the mark here when we should have said, this location is not good. I know it's planned. I know that it's zoned commercial and whatnot. And yes, as long as you stay within 3 feet, or 3 stories and whatnot. But dude, right across the street is a flipping school. Right behind you is a daycare. Oh, there's a healing arts center right here. I don't think, we would love to have you in Berlin, but let me show you some other spots that might be even better for what you're doing, and it may be received a little nicer. That's where I think we as a town of Berlin completely missed the mark on this project. And I am not speaking for Shanika when I say that. I'm speaking for a whole group of people in this town. And that infuriates me tenfold, because I'm not saying that it needs to start with this body when it comes to something like that, but somebody somewhere who has a say needs to say, I hear you when you say it's I hear you when you say it's commercial. Yeah, I know you like that spot. Not necessarily the right place for that. Let's do some looking here before we cement you in that location. That, for those people who are not happy with this project, is where they feel the ball was dropped. And I agree with that tenfold. And I'm not pointing at you, sir.
Yeah,
I'm just,
that's
that
definitely
needed to be said today.
But the other side of that too, in your pathway sounds logical, but sometimes what happens, I'm not talking project specific, back to the lot with R1 or R2, sometimes people will buy that. And there's really, if it checks the box of it fits within this zoning structure, there's nothing. No matter if we stand in front of them, we can't do that. Now, what we can do, what this body can do, is outline different zoning types and what fits within those specific zoning types. And am I correct in that? Now, what I can also say, and what Rick has been bringing forward to Mary and I quite a bit, are overlays for different corridors and things of that nature. Can we apply any of that to future projects that may come up like this?
Absolutely.
That's what I thought.
I mean, because this right here,
Well, I think there's some of the stuff that we have to recognize. What can we change, right? And I think that Rick has some really good ideas about ways that we can improve corridors or neighborhoods within Berlin. Some of that being the Old Ocean City Boulevard corridor, some of that being Main Street, some of that being the highway frontage. You want to talk briefly just about that? I don't want to bog down too far.
But yes, and since I've been at least credited with putting some of that forward, I want to make sure portions of it are clear. Town of Berlin's comprehensive plan is currently over 10 years old, I believe.
It is.
To be renewed every 5 years. But if you read it as well, number one, as I understand, I've heard town's not interested in growth areas. Town wants to focus on infill, wants to focus on creation of community. Those things are in the current comprehensive plan. Current comprehensive plan, Berlin doesn't want to change much. The comprehensive plan doesn't necessarily need to change much. So the suggestion of small area plans, I'm a few hours per week additional resource to the town. You have 2 people that are in administration. It's a tremendous amount of work. But if we look at a small area plan, and maybe Mayor's throwing out examples, but from the intersection of 346 and 818 where Cheers is,
yep,
all the way down to Rite Aid or to the gas station, which includes the area for Heron Park. A lot of property there, a lot of change. Good area for a small area plan so that you can describe that the way you would like it to look. The council, a number of years back, and I can't tell you how many years back, but looking at the, well, I guess I can, you can look at the change logs for the regulations, But back in the 1980s, they passed two sections, 108-274 and 108-275. They're very generic, but they are to protect the corridors where this one property is, and at least to maintain it as a greenway, and it's got some fairly strong language. So it is important to recognize those and bring them forward from the very beginning as a new project comes in, and explain to them the expectations of those sections. At the time that I arrived, there's a few projects that have come further, much further down the pipe.
Then they
without-
should, let me be quiet. Yes, I hear you, sir.
You know, without some of that, that may have served us better. I don't disagree. But at the same time, we have to play the ball from where it lies.
Yes, sir.
I would like, Councilmember Nichols, I'd like to be able to get 100% endorsement from you. I don't think we're far off in what we think. It's a matter of communicating to make sure that we're being clear.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, what you just provided. Thank you.
Now, in follow-up, I'd like to draw our attention to the motion that we passed this evening, 2024-62, extending the temporary moratorium on certain matters before the Planning Commission. Those matters are site plan approval, rezoning requests, and annexation. And we've extended them from when? When did we start this? July until January. And that puts the pause button on some major planning issues. But without the gentleman right here at this table, that list would be a lot longer. And the planning commission, or the planning department would come to a screeching halt. So thank you, Rick, on behalf of all of us. I said 30 days.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for the work you've done. So,
Thank you.
all right, let's let Rick go back.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate your comments. I just, these are projects that are hitting the heart, obviously, very well articulated. You have Route 50 and Main Street, and this one across the highway, so across 113, across from the school. But, so I appreciate the time that was taken tonight to address it, because it's continuing to be discussed, and I just thought we'd try to bring some clarity to it, so thank you.
Thank you. Now, going back to Councilmember Orris's point about a joint meeting between the Planning Commission and the Council, and it came up in our discussion about infill development. I think sometimes we lose sight of what is available for infill development, and then other times we may not be clear about what we want for infill development. So I think if we're going to meet, one of the items we should discuss is what is available in infill, where it's at, and potentially what we would like to see on those sites. Because I think roughly 200 and something, might even be more than that, EDUs are ready to service, which mean that those projects are ready to go, the EDUs are there, they're assigned, but they're not contributing really fully to the tax base. So how can we go about that? What do we want to see and where do we want to see it?
We can't be a one-trick pony. If we're gonna consider growth, we need to consider growth. We need
the microphone.
Yeah. We need to consider expansion along with infill, so we can get a comprehensive picture of where we need to go, where we want to go, and what the public expects. But sticking just infill, I think we just need to possibly expand our vision.
I agree with you. The only reason I suggested infill was because the last joint meeting we had, we discussed those growth plans. There were more boundary issues. And I think maybe the next meeting, I'd like to have a clear idea of something to talk about together, rather than just getting together. And I think that, one, if we bring on a new planning director, it's good study for that individual to know what's available, and also good for us to understand what's available and potentially what we would like to see. Because I know some infill development has come up before the Planning Commission. It would be helpful for us all to be on a similar mindset.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that's great. The reason it was it was Steve's Green originally, before, so I'm just kind of taking it down the field a bit more, is just so that we can kind of exactly like do that touch base and have a discussion, an open discussion with everyone so that we're all on the same page. Everybody's staying in their appropriate lanes, of course. But I mean, we can talk to them.
Absolutely,
So,
it's just helpful when we have a meeting to
To have
have.
something to talk about. So it's
Some
like,
guidance, right?
should we delve into, I'm throwing this out here, should we delve into ADUs? And also, Ready to Serve, did not the legislature pass a, municipalities may start doing more tax stuff for lots that are just sitting there? I'm not saying we need to do that, but I think it's out there. So things like that is what I'm trying to get at.
I think that we shouldn't consider this as our only opportunity to meet.
Absolutely not.
But, and maybe not stack it too much.
Right.
I think,
Sorry,
one, with a new planning director, it gives everybody a chance to come together. Two, it's something good for us to talk about, really important for us to talk about, because we all say infill development, infill development, infill development. But I don't know if we truly know what's available, nor do we truly know what we want.
Oh my God.
I think that's a very good point. When you're talking about zoning, you look at the time when the zoning was implemented, and the folks that implemented the zoning at that time, presumably, did it thoughtfully, with the knowledge they had that day. They maybe didn't anticipate some of the projects that have started to come into small towns, but they did what they thought was right at the time. Then later on, another group made changes to that zoning based on new culture and philosophy and business, and you may make additional changes. But it's very difficult to look at something and say, nobody ever wanted that here, because nobody may have even thought such a thing existed. So don't beat up past councils, don't beat yourselves up for not accounting for every single possibility that could occur within a certain zoning. Sometimes we don't know something is a problem, if it is a problem, until it comes up.
And that ties into the review, ties into the review of comp plans, because what the community as a whole may think is proper at one point may not be years later.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
To Rick's point, that's why you keep it updated.
Yeah,
And not just comp plans, but the actual zoning to specific areas and regions.
Right.
We need to, we need to be more aware. Knowledge is power, no joke.
That's what I'm
at the end
saying,
of the
but
day, that's what this all boils down to.
With this infill development discussion, one, this project, the microtel, would have been on our radar. Hey, look, this is a vacant lot, Ready to Serve, it's zoned this way. How do we want it?
But at
What are
the same
acceptable
time,
uses?
had we been more aware, had everybody paid closer attention to what the zoning and protections had said in certain areas, we would have said, ooh, maybe we should think twice about allowing such a thing, because some things already exist that make us stop, drop, and listen for a minute.
Well, and the other side is, the other example I wanted to draw our attention to was, not too long ago, this council saved a parcel of property in front of the multi-purpose building, or shore of, that was zoned R4. That was going to be turned into multi-family housing. So I think we've got some work to do together to make sure that things are zoned appropriately, that they meet the standards and things that we want today. But there's no better way to start than by surveying what we have.
Is it possible that this council, so we gain the knowledge, get a list of all the addresses of what lots are currently?
We've got it, because they already pay Ready to Serve. We send them a
Right.
bill.
Can we get a list of those addresses?
Yeah.
Just so we're aware of where in town.
I'm sure Natalie will love it, but yes, we have that.
All right, yeah, that would help. Then we could map
I
it
think
out.
that's a great, yeah.
Homework assignment.
Thank you.
No problem. All
That's a
right.
good start.
Anything else? I think we ended with you.
Sure.
Is you good? All right, Dean, you're back up. You got anything? You good?
Mr. Robert, thank you.
No,
I
we've already done
totally
public.
appreciate you.
Up next is Sarah.
Thank you.
Comments from the mayor's office. So Sarah, anything on
Oh,
our
I'm on the wrong thing.
Well, we've got the survey stuff that's going to be coming out to everybody.
Yeah, it's not out yet. We haven't met with our
Right.
meeting yet, so I wasn't going to mention it.
It's okay, but we've now gotten all the survey.
We closed this survey, okay.
Go ahead.
We talked about it.
Go
I
ahead.
just was waiting to share the information with our community center
Okay, don't get into the nitty gritty. Save that for the community.
I'll save the nitty gritty for the community center committee, which is meeting next week. But I can share, I think, an overview. The good news is that we had over 300 participants in the community center survey. I even worked with Carol Cross at Cross Farms at the pop-up farmers market to make sure that she was handing out paper copies for me. So that worked out really well. We got some at the end, and I'm working with Beacon to make sure that the people who registered to be in the drawing for one of the prizes live in the town of Berlin, and Beacon will be notifying them directly in the next week or so.
Thank you, Sarah.
Can I get that meeting date, sir?
Yes, it's the 23rd at 4 o'clock? I'm going to check the
We'll follow
exact
up.
time.
We'll make sure.
It's definitely the 23rd, the afternoon of the 23rd, but I can't remember if it's 4 or 4:30.
I think it's
4
4:30.
or 4:30, I'm not.
Because Councilmember Nichols, I think it
Yeah.
was 4:30.
I think so too, but I will double check.
Thank you, Sarah. And just a reminder, 300 was not where I wanted to be, but it was where John said statistically it's a reliable survey. So,
Compared to other surveys that we've done, I think that's a perfectly respectable number.
all right, and then
It's great.
the comments that I have, I want to just take a moment to say, Councilmember Nichols, you started off with the unfinished work, and I remember when we were just elected, you and I and some others were sitting over in the conference room with the Booker T. Washington Lodge folks and trying to save the community center site. And would I have ever thought that it would take us 4 years to get to where we are now with the community center? No. But we've covered a lot of ground together as a group when we look at what was accomplished previously. So it's come a long way, but I think every time we transition, whether it's new folks or new terms or whatever, there's going to be that unfinished work because the town of Berlin keeps going. And it's about how we turn over the keys physically and metaphorically to the next group of folks that come in. We're only here watching over the place for a little while. So I think that the unfinished work, yeah, we're going to have it, but let's continue to trudge along and get it where it needs to be. So that's really all I have, and then we'll open it up to comments from the press, but Steve, you need to fix that. I don't see him anymore. And then Dean?
Move to adjourn.
Second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you all. Have a good night.
I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, you're so kind.
No, it's true.
We need a reporter.